And hello, everyone, and welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Elex, where we dive into the moments that define us and the courage that takes us to create what comes next. How inspiring is that? I'm finding myself super inspired. Today, I'm Coach Elex, your host, and with me, my amazing co-host.
Stephen Frederick is here.
And Steven, today I know you're super excited because we have an amazing show. Our show today is Beyond the Pages with Courage, writing a new chapter. And we have a friend, a talented, award-winning author, Natalie Banks. But more about that and more about her in a few minutes. But first and foremost, how are you, Mr.
Oh,
Stephen
I'm
the
wonderful. Just wonderful. Just wonderful.
So what's going on? Listen, you just did an amazing event last Saturday in Rhode Island. So you want to tell people how amazing that event was?
It was very amazing. It was it really was a great event at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Warwick, and the people there were just incredible. The energy was incredible. The validations and messages were just spectacular. And, there were just so many surprises. There was, when I was in college working as a bank teller, Sue Boudreau, who was my supervisor, came with another two friends of hers that also worked at Citizens Bank. I never worked with them, but I did have a really, really good relationship with Sue. As a matter of fact, when I graduated from college, I applied to go into the audit department at Citizens Bank and leave the branch because, I got my bachelor's and it was in accounting, and I got the job. And I remember my last Friday at the bank, we went to one of the tellers' house. This was in Cranston, Rhode Island. And we just had like a little party for me, going away. And I'll never forget, Elix, we walked out of that house. And before and Paul J. Mott, my best friend, was there because he was invited. And before we got into our cars, I just remember Sue and I were just standing there, like hugging and looking at each other, just both of us in tears. It was very, very emotional. So to get to see Sue was wonderful. And just quickly, these four daughters that lived across the street from me growing up in Providence, that were like my best friends, they showed up, all four of them, which was, when I saw them, I got extremely emotional because I never look at who's coming. And that was something. I don't know if you saw my face when I saw them, Elix. And if you're on social media, it's go on and under Stephen the Medium, you can take a look at, I have a picture when, right before they moved, because they moved when we were really young still, and they bought a house. And one of the girls' birthday parties was at their house, and it's me and the four girls. And then I got a picture of me and the four girls Saturday, and I put them side by side. It's a really cool picture, don't you think?
It is, and nothing's changed because just about every picture you take, it's you and girls around you. I
had guys in this event.
Sometimes me.
There were guys in the event. I mean, the majority of
women. At
the
event, of course. I'm just saying in general, pictures, every picture there is, it's you and girls. Because, you're like a magnet for girls.
I guess so. Well,
it was
wonderful.
It was a wonderful event. I personally enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was, I love when you do events like this because they're very intimate events. And,
yes.
and just feels like everyone gets something really awesome out of being there. And, of course, today our producer is none other than our GM, Jim Jones. But normally we get Dave Angel, and his mom and aunt went to see you. So I was excited to see him, to tell him that, clearly the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as I said earlier. But that was awesome to see them as well.
Well, interestingly enough, as you were there, before I got to Dave's mom and aunt, now I don't know who they are. I had never met them. I was with another woman, and I was at the end of her reading, and I asked her who Anthony was. And she's looking at me, and she's trying to figure it out. And I said, and then I brought up the angel. I'm like, there's something with an angel. And Elix, of course, knew where they were. And how did you know? Did they introduce themselves?
Yeah, she came to me and said, "Oh my God, you know my son." And I'm like, "Who's your son?" And she's like, "Dave Angel." So I knew
Well, then,
I knew where they were, but I watched this happen because I was in the back of the room. So she yelled at you, "Anthony's
yeah.
for me." and, and as soon as she said that, I swear to God, this is how it happened. You talked about Anthony. She's like, "That's for me. Anthony's for me. That was my
No, she didn't say that yet. She just said it was for her.
for her." And then you kept going with the other woman, and she said, "There's an angel." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, there it is. Clearly, they're going towards her because I knew Dave Angel was her son." So it was really awesome.
And
Just watching that.
and the dad was Angel, right? I think the
Yes.
dad or grandfather. Yeah, dad.
Something
I think,
like
yes.
that. I
Yeah, it
can't
was
remember
dad.
the
It was a great.
details.
It was a great event. It was really good.
It was amazing.
Yes.
And I know that you're super excited. By the way, that's what happens. I asked Steven how things going, and now, now we're going into segment 2 in just about a minute. But, um, joke, Steven. Anyway.
We have more than a minute. Just saying.
But listen, Steven, I know you're super excited because we're approaching the end of summer, school starting, and that means October is right around the corner.
Well, starting with September, I get very excited.
I know
about September because from September to the rest of the year, it's just my favorite part of the year. Not that,
and I hear that all the time. How it's getting darker earlier. How how there's foliage. He sees one little orange leaf, and there's foliage is already happening. So every day I hear that. But listen, we're still squeezing every bit out of summer, and tomorrow we're heading to the beach again. So I'm really excited about that, Steve.
Yeah, no, I that's the one thing I love about summer is just being able to be outside, especially at the beach. But even a couple of days ago when it was humid here, even on the Cape, I was running on the canal and just thinking, you know what, I was not made for humidity. I was not made for heat. I wasn't not made for hot weather. I just wasn't.
Sure.
I wasn't.
For sure.
So,
yes.
But I ran.
You are like a polar bear. You're the
Yes,
opposite.
I am.
Hey, by the way, I wanted to also do a shout out to my cousin, Noel. We call him Junior. He's listening in the live stream. And he is my cousin. He lived in New York for many years, and now he moved to North Carolina. And I'm happy that he's healthy. He had a very, very scary health scare and went through a lot, but he's healthy, he's doing well, and we're very happy that he's joining us and listening to us today. And this program could be perfect for him. Go ahead.
Hey, Junior, if you're listening, now you need to accept my friend request. So Junior sent me a friend request. I, of course, accept it. And then Junior makes a comment a couple of days later, don't accept any request from me. Someone, as they always do in Facebook, they grab your names or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, oh my God. So I tell Elix, I must have accepted the wrong one. So I delete it. And then Elix looks and says, no, that was the right one. I'm like, I can't win.
I'm like, Steven, if you saw that comment, that means you have the right one because he wouldn't put a comment on a fake one.
Well, but, I pulled the trigger too fast. What can I tell you?
And you often do that. And
Yes.
just like I say many times, I thank God every day that you got good looks on your side and that you passed the bar the first time. So, just saying. But listen,
I'll take it.
You should take it. But by the way, so tell people, because Sunday you have also an upcoming event. What's that about?
Well, Sunday's sold out. So Sunday is in Yarmouth that I do like every month and a half or so, which I got to get another one on the books in this boutique place called Dunn and Sons Boutique Wine Establishment. So that's a really fun event. But I have a bigger one Thursday. So check out my website, and you can get tickets there. That's me and another medium, Scott Allen, who is just a great, talented guy and such a nice guy and a talented guy spirit wise. And the two of us are going to be there, and that's going to be in Rosebrook. I think it's Rosebrook event. In so it's
In Wareham, right?
in Wareham, yes,
Yeah.
Mass, and it's August 21st, a Thursday night. So, I mean, else are you doing on a Thursday night? Seriously. So, just come, have a great time. I just posted a little clip that Elix took of me Saturday night reading somebody. So, if you want to know what I'm all about, just go on social media and you can take a look at it.
And for those of you who know a little bit about Steven, this week is going to be really hard because I am traveling. I'm headed to Atlanta. I have an event that I'm going to be a speaker, and I'm not going to be able to be here Thursday. And Steven is going to starve because he can't cook, so he's not going to eat anything.
Wait, I thought you were leaving Wednesday.
Yeah, but I'm not going. I'm not going to be at the event. That's what I meant. Yeah, I'm leaving Wednesday, Thursday, coming back Friday. So 3 days you'll be without food. So if anyone wants to help you out, this is the time to come to the rescue for Stephen.
I bought her. Let me just tell you, I bought her. You bring me over to eat, and I'll give you a reading. As we're eating. I mean, I don't think that gets any better, right? I mean, I think
I
that's a good deal.
So what do I get when I'm here and I get to cook for you all the time, or take you out for that matter? What do I get? I
Well,
don't
I'm
hear you saying I get a free reading or anything.
no, because you get the privilege of spending time with me.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, of course, he couldn't keep himself quiet. John, a friend, Jack, actually is his name, says, "No worries, Stephen. He's got you covered." So I'm sure him
Thank
and
you, John. John.
his wife to be Krista will be taking care of you, and you will be sending me pictures sticking it.
Well, I'll be an anorexic if I don't. Wednesday night. I got Wednesday night. I get nothing. Like, what am I going to do? Right?
But
Nothing.
but listen, we have to take a break. But I am so excited, Stephen. I love when you and I have shows and we get to chat, but I also love when we get to bring people in as guests, especially people that we happen to love and adore and we know. And this is a friend of yours. And
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yes, so today's show is Write Your Next Chapter, pun intended, beyond the pages with courage. And I personally couldn't be more excited to welcome back a dear friend of you, Stephen, and mine to the show, Natalie Banks. And she's not only a best selling, award winning novelist, a master creator of worlds, but she's also someone whose personal journey is an inspiring or is as inspiring story as what she writes. So we are in for a super amazing treat. So let's do this, Stephen. Let's take a break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined by Natalie Banks. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. Today's show, write your next chapter beyond the pages with courage. And Stephen and I are super excited to welcome back a dear friend to the show, Natalie Banks, who is a best-selling, award-winning novelist, and she is has faced rejection head on, built a powerful brand from the ground up, and turned life's challenges into unforgettable triumphs. And whether you're starting over, you're chasing a long held dream, or ready to stop living in the margins, I would say that applies to many of us. This conversation today is your invitation to grab the pen and write your own next chapter. Natalie, we are so happy and excited to have you back. How have you been since we last spoken? What have you been up to? And Natalie, for those of us or listeners who may be tuning in for the first time, tell them a little bit about your journey.
Hey guys, I'm so
Hey.
happy to be back. I missed you. It's such a great honor to be back on your amazing show. So I just want to put that out there and say thank you so much for that. And for me, is what I've been doing. I have been riding up a storm. I'm going to tell you, I have been on fire. I feel like I reached a pretty big breakthrough within myself, and that has just opened up so much for me creatively. And I think when you break through barriers within yourself, it also breaks through barriers in your business as well. Because, when you create a brand that is of yourself, overcoming these things in yourself does give yourself a push to get through and reflect in your business as well. So it's like intertwined, I guess, no matter what that business is. And so for me, with my creativity and my business being so tightly woven, reaching these breakthroughs really made a difference and just jump-started a lot of things. And I'm just been super busy, but it's been an amazing few months.
And Natalie, you've written a number of books between Friend, House of Lights, The Water is Wide, The Canary Sun, The Dark Room, The Moments Between, my book, Boyfriend's Journal. What is that? What does that look like? Like, where does that purpose come from?
Well, all I can tell you is it just landed in my lap one day. I was 12 years old, and I had grown up with a traumatic childhood, and books were my escape. And I think a lot of people find that to be the case. Books kind of take us to a place that's safe. And for me, books had never hurt me until that fateful day when I was 12 and I read a book that hurt me. Had a terrible ending for the character. I was devastated and I did not know what to do. And as anybody that's going through grief, you just want that pain to stop. And I was trying to figure out, scrambling, what can I do? What can I do to make this pain stop? And all I thought of was, I need to rewrite this. Not knowing anything about being a writer, it just came from within. And so I got my little notebook out of my backpack and I took my pen and I rewrote the end of the chapter. And then I went back to the book. I read the book until where I felt like the author went wrong, in my humble opinion, and then read my ending to the book. And at that moment, I knew that I was a writer. I knew that I was called to do something. And it was magic because I had made my own self feel something. And I thought I could do this for others. And so that's where it started with me, my love of writing. And it's just carried on. It's carried on throughout the years. And I feel like it comes from somewhere other than me. And I'm so incredibly grateful to be able to be that channel.
That's beautiful, Natalie. And literally, as I'm listening to you share your story, you literally wrote a next chapter in your life, and you literally went beyond the pages that were there with courage, and that's super inspiring. Now, let me ask you this. Natalie, our listeners, I know they're tuned in. I know as they listen to you, they reflect on their own lives. They reflect on their own journey. I too experience a lot of hurt and pain in my as a young person, and I know Stephen experienced the loss of his dad as well. How now you write, so that's your outlet. But what if somebody doesn't have that artistic capacity? Can they still write their next chapter? Can they still go beyond those pages with courage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I truly believe this entire journey of being on this planet, it comes down to learning who we are authentically and embracing all of that. And it's no easy feat. I'm going to tell you, it's not. I'd be lying if I said, oh, yeah, just, love yourself, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't work that way. It is a journey because unfortunately a lot of us experience things, in our younger years that create subconscious programming that tells us, that we're flawed in whatever way that is. And it can be a thing to overcome. And, I think the first step in finding a path when you say, I know there's more for my life, like I can feel it, is to just go in the direction of joy. So what is that? That could be anything. Maybe for somebody it's going to a ball game. Maybe they love baseball. Go in that direction. See where it leads. Maybe it's going to lead to, coaching Little League or something. Or maybe it's, singing. Maybe somebody loves to sing and they want to express themselves in that way. Okay, maybe try to go to karaoke. If you're embarrassed, then don't take anybody with you and just go belt it out, or sign up for voice lessons. It could be anything. Like, those are just two small, very obscure examples, but the point is that what makes you feel good? Like, especially for people who are entrepreneurs and, people that work hard like we do at, building brands, building businesses. It's so important for us to find these things to step away and do things that don't benefit our business, but benefit our soul. And when you start choosing yourself in that way, I think that is when that beginning chapter starts to write itself.
That's so beautiful. And as I'm listening to you, Natalie, I can see how you and Stephen connected because, your words remind me of words that him and I talk about all the time. With that said, Stephen, I know you've been dying to jump in, so go ahead.
Natalie, he's been hogging you. I'm just waiting and waiting. Like, give me a break. So, Natalie, I love that you're here. I adore you. And just for the listeners also, Natalie and I are, from my perspective, are two people that when we talk to each other on the phone, it's like we talk every day. It doesn't matter how much time goes by. You and I have had this conversation, Natalie.
Yes.
You feel like you're my sister. We just bonded so much above and beyond. You also helping me with my book also. But I'm so excited you're here, and I wanted to ask you because I know the listeners are wanting to hear this too, your answer, because it sort of follows with Elix's question. When you are writing these books, do you feel that there is therapy writing the characters, but then the characters giving you back therapy? In other words, when you're formulating these books and you're creating these characters, and you're learning in your own world, and I'm sure that's how, using your imagination and your talents to come up with these characters. Does it ever get to a place that you're just writing a character and then you realize that after you wrote it, it's something that you've learned or something that you're learning because you're writing it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as a child, I was very fascinated with, in English, they would give you, the stories to read that were called, the morals of the story. So they would want you to read the story and find out what the character learned and what you as a reader should learn from the story. So my love of that has imprinted into my own story. So even though I write thrillers and suspense, all of my characters go through a journey of healing in some way. And I feel like that's also part of my mission, like my divine calling to put this in these books. But in doing so, I experience healing and changes within myself because I'm experiencing the character's journey so intimately, as do the readers, that it can't help but affect me. And it's like as it's coming through me, it begins to shift things within myself, and I begin to view the world in a different way. And I think it's just an added benefit and gift to what I do.
And it just brings you to that, as the author of these books, it brings you to such an intimate relationship with these characters, and maybe I'm wrong, Natalie, but it must be like these characters, when you're in it, are real. They're also just part of your world in putting this together. And I think so many people are intimidated when they even think about writing, or they could never write because it's too intimidating. It's too much work. I don't, and mostly I don't know what to write about. How would I even start? And you being on here and what you've said already, Natalie, I'm sure just gives people the motivation, and you just become a muse for people that are on the fence, and maybe you're right, I just need that little push to start, and they're listening, and they're gonna listen and start. So that's amazing.
I
That
love
is,
that.
and by
I
the
love
way,
seeing. I'm
go, no, no, go ahead, Natalie. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I love it when I see people light up when they begin to follow their joy, whatever that is, whether it's the baseball game or it's writing. Like, it just makes me so happy because it's like that child within us that finally gets to come out and, get to express what it wants to experience.
I love that. Follow your joy. I'm going to write that down and put it in front of me. What I was going to say, Stephen, is as I'm listening to you, on the live stream, Phyllis on the live stream, actually said anyone can journal and it can be incredibly healing. So, so if you don't, if we're not necessarily talking about, being a novelist like Natalie is, journaling can be healing, and you could use all those techniques that Natalie is sharing with you to journal something just for yourself, and that I think that can provide as much healing, right, Natalie?
Absolutely, because there's something with writing is because it's such a physical act because it's coming from within you and then you're using your hands to put it into the physical world. So it is a type of transmutation if you think about it.
I love that. And we need to take our first break. And here's what I want to do. While we take a short break, I want our listeners and you guys also to think about this. If your life were a book, what would the title of your next chapter be? I'm thinking about that for myself. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. And then I'm going to inquire. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host.
Stephen the Medium.
And today, we have an amazing show, an amazing guest. Today's show, Write Your Next Chapter Beyond the Pages with Courage. And we have none other than award winning author, novelist, Natalie Banks. Welcome back, Natalie. And
Hey.
thank you. And before the break, I asked the question, if your life were a book, what would the title of your next chapter be? Now, that's probably the easiest question I could ask you, Natalie, today.
So you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. So I think my next chapter is going to be called Diving In, because I feel like I've finally gotten to the point in my life where I'm accepting all of myself, the good and the bad, and loving myself through it, and just being all that I can be in the fullness of whatever that is.
Oh my goodness!
I love that.
Love that! Yay! Bravo! Of course. Now we have to compete with that, Stephen. What about for you, Stephen?
You want me to go after that?
Yeah,
Seriously?
I'm going to go. So if I have to do it, you have to do it.
Well, you know what? I think this will be also it will be my second book because, as I mentioned, Natalie was just such a huge presence in helping me with the original one. But I think the next title would be something we've talked about before, Elix, with you, me, and I think with John and Christmas is it would be called My Way.
That's a good one.
That's so appropriate. Oh my goodness!
And I think just because of it's because of my life and just because of what happened after my dad, passed away, and just because of that hurt and everything that was part of my emotions, I did everything my way. And the great thing now is that I am still doing things my way, but from the authentic place as opposed to the non-authentic place. So.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. And mine would be His Way. No, just kidding. No, I think my next chapter would be titled Freedom Beyond Proving. Because for so many years, the story I told myself without even realizing it was that I wasn't enough. And that actually fueled my drive, my accomplishments, but it also kept me so trapped in a loop where nothing I achieved felt like it was enough. So my next chapter is about living free of that old narrative, knowing my worth isn't something to earn, it's something I already have. I even feel emotional talking about it. But
that is beautiful. I could feel that too.
Now, Gillis, can I just jump in for a second, Natalie? Because
Absolutely.
we're talking about chapters, next chapter, next book. How is the process of coming up with the title of your books? I mean, are they there first, or do you back into them? Do they change? Like, how do you go about that process?
Well, like I told you before, I really feel like my stories are channeled in a way. Mm-hmm. So usually the titles just come to me, and I don't know when. Sometimes it's the end of the book. Sometimes it's the beginning. Sometimes the middle. It just depends. And when it comes, and I think it's almost like a nod from the universe, because the titles are always symbolic to the story in some way. They're more than just the obvious. And I think that's almost like the divine's way of putting its signature on it.
I love that.
Natalie, as you know, in the business of publishing a book, there's often lots of rejection. There's often lots of self-doubt. How do you find the courage to keep creating in the face of all of that?
Yeah, and you are so right about that. The rejection it's prevalent in this business. I mean, anybody who's out there trying to make a name for themselves in any kind of art, whether it's singing, painting, I mean, you name it, there's a lot. But I think writers get it pretty much the hardest. Maybe singers are the second of that rejection, because, you've got the quote unquote professionals, that you have to get the approval of to be told that you're of value or you're worth something. And, a lot of us writers do start out going through those traditional channels. And if you take that path, you are going to be told no a lot. And, you have to rise above that because, that no speaks to all that hurt and the lack of confidence and self-belief that we have on the inside. So those rejections tell us, see, you are right. You're not good enough. Nobody wants your stuff. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. That's that external voice validating the internal voice. And if you listen to that, then absolutely they win, and then it's just over. You just give up. But thankfully, a good number of us don't. And we know that there's something inside of us calling us to do whatever that thing is that we're doing. So for me, I spent a bit of time crying, being hurt. I've had 2 different literary agents that it didn't work out with because they didn't believe in me in the end. And, I had to come to that point to say, if I don't believe in me, nobody's going to believe in me. And I need to stop looking for that external proof because I know, even though there would be lies in my head that tells me, no, you're not good enough, there are the knowing inside of me saying that this is right, this is good. That's what I had to focus on. I had to drown out all of the lies, the ones I was telling myself, and the ones that were coming from people whose opinion in the end don't really matter, and start listening to the truth. So listening to that joy that I feel, that connection that I feel, that zing of knowing this is what I'm meant to do. And then also the readers that are telling me, this story changed my life, this story touched me, I healed because of this story. Those are the things I have to focus on, And as humans, it's very, very easy to say, no, I'm going to listen to the negative. We're going to pick out, like, let's say, for example, if we look at reviews, I could have 100 5-star reviews, but one person leaves a 1-star review. And it's very human to say, why did that 1-star person not like me? Mm-hmm. And you have to say, no, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I know my truth. Yeah. And that's how I've overcome it.
Stephen, that sounds familiar. We just had that conversation a few days ago.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because, Natalie, you are so connected, and we had that absolutely the same conversation. And it certainly makes sense, too, what you're saying, Natalie, because I think all 3 of our jobs, that what we do, are so different in the sense that, somebody who may, go into, I don't know, have a job that's more routine and just do it, and they know it's very, very repetitive, if you will. What you're doing as a novelist is you can't sit there at any point. Well, I guess you can, but I know you don't. You can't just sit and just sort of be willy-nilly and just think you're going to start putting stuff on, typing it in or putting on paper, whatever the case may be. As an artist and as a novelist, you have to be on point all the time. And I think that brings the sensitivity of looking at that one negative piece. But the fact that you've overcome that is I think, is just pretty brilliant. And I think it's also, for anybody, again, that's listening and going to listen to this, it's going to be so helpful for people.
Mm-hmm. It is. I really feel like that's been the pivotal change for me that has opened up all of this creativity and joy, because I hushed inner critic. Now, be lying to you if I say I never have a negative thought about myself. That's not true. However, I know how to get that inner critic to be quiet now and say, I'm not paying attention to you because I want to look at all this good. Because in the end, our life is narrowed down to what we focus on. And we can spend all of our days focused on the naysayers and the pain and the negative thoughts in our head, or we can move on and say, no, you know what, I'm going to look at this. Because either way, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to go to bed at night, and I can choose to be thinking about the people who are angry and mean and maybe said something that hurt me or, what have you, or I can think about all of the good stuff and the joy that I'm trying to cultivate in my life through my work and through my personal experiences.
That's one. You know, Natalie, that reminds me. I had a very high-profile athlete that I worked with a few years ago, and I actually asked that question, like, how does he deal with feedback, especially negative feedback, right? Because people have opinions, and he says that he doesn't give value to any feedback, whether it's positive or negative, unless
Mm,
it's coming from a person who has a vested interest in his success.
mm.
Otherwise, that he said, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. It doesn't mean I don't say thank you. But he says, I don't put value on anything, whether positive or negative, unless it comes from a person who has a vested interest in my success. And I've never, ever forgot that because I think that is gold.
Yeah, it absolutely is because when you let someone else's opinion, positive or negative, have an opinion over your life or let it affect you, now you've taken away all of your personal power and given it away. So yeah,
Yes.
that's super profound. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
And we do need to take another commercial break because this conversation is so. Natalie, I'm telling you right now, you gotta come back and join us again because this is going way too fast for us, and we want to keep you here forever and ever.
Yes.
But we do have to
I
take.
don't want to leave.
No, we don't want you to leave, but we do have to take another commercial break. And here's something to reflect on: what would be one bold choice you could make this week that would move your story forward? And I know you invited people to find their happy place, which I think it's wonderful. But for you guys listening, what would be a bold choice that you could make this week that would move your story, whatever that is, forward? We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen Frederick.
Stephen the Medium is in the house. And today we have award winning author, novelist Natalie Banks. And our topic is writing your next chapter beyond the pages with courage. And before the break, I asked our listeners what's one bold choice you could make this week that would move your story forward. So, what would that be for you guys, Natalie?
Well, the way I look at, because sometimes if you think a bold choice, that seems like something huge, right?
Yes.
But a bold choice can also be something small, because it's saying
Yes.
I choose to change what I'm doing to be the person that I want to be the person I know I am on the inside. So like for me, I want to drink more water. I used to be really good about drinking water and I'm not right now. So a bold choice for me would be a commitment that I'm going to make sure I drink one full 8-ounce glass of water a day. And the reason I think that's a bold choice is because it's a step in the right direction. Because if I told myself, hey, tomorrow you're going to start having 8 ounces of water a day, I'm probably not going to do that. And therefore I'm never going to follow through. So committing to myself one glass, something I'm going to actually do, to me is a bold choice.
I love it. I love
Me
it
too.
because you're making it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. What about for you, Stephen?
Well, it's a good question because I just started this just a couple of days ago, that on a daily basis I am checking in with myself. At some point I'm just checking in and asking, how am I doing? That's it.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. I love that. And for me, guys, I think it would say before I jump into overachieving mode, which is my MO, just ask myself, learn to ask myself every day, am I doing this because it truly matters to me or because I'm trying to prove something?
Oh,
That's going to be my
goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that
I love
redirects
that.
back to searching for the joy too. Because just because your business is, your gravy, your income, that we're doing this to pay the bills, right? You also can find joy in that. I mean, isn't that like the dream, to find joy in what you do every single day? So you can
Yes.
find a way, like asking yourself, does it truly matter? Because if it truly matters, then in its own way, it's going to bring you joy. Because overachieving doesn't bring us joy. And I've been victim. I know what it's like. So I feel you. That's a great
Now,
one.
Natalie, I have a question. What would you be doing if the author profession was tabled? You needed to do something else.
That's a tough question, Stephen. I'll be honest with you, because I've been writing for so many years. It's like the fabric of who I am. Probably something to do with dog training, because I love my dogs, and
I love that.
I'm an amateur dog whisperer. I'm very good at dog training, and they understand me, and I understand them. So I guess that would be my second career choice.
And they are beautiful. Those dogs are beautiful.
Thank
even
you.
even in that, you're both connected because Steven, it's like I think in a past life he was probably a dog because he can talk
That's
to
nice.
he talks to them. Steven, it's the truth. I mean, you have a very special
Oh,
relationship with animals in general, but especially
yeah.
our little kids. But I do want to, because we're at the top of the hour, so I want to take time to allow you, Natalie, to give our listeners a golden nugget to take with them. So, say, they're reflecting on their lives, they're reflecting on, where, you know, what it is that they won, what's that next chapter for them, but they may be paralyzed by fear or they're maybe stuck in that old narrative that, we're all very familiar with, that internal little gremlin that doesn't stop. What would you tell them?
Well, I think self discovery is a beautiful path forward. And you ask somebody, what do you want? So somebody might say, I want to win the lottery. Okay, why? Well, because if I won the lottery, I'd be able to pay off my house and that would make me happy. Why? So it's like this nesting of whys. Now, it doesn't have to be something grand like that. Like I want to win the lottery or I want my dream job or whatever. Like I want to find my perfect person. Okay, why? And like asking these questions and nesting it down to get to the root of what it is they want as a soul. Because a lot of times, I would say probably 99% of the time, what people want isn't actually the big thing. There's something deeper inside. And if they can figure out, hey, the whole reason I wanted to win the lottery and pay off the house and help my family and blah, 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 is actually because I want to be free. So then when you have that nugget of, okay, what I'm actually searching for is I want to feel free. Now they can start to find ways in their life right now to feel free. So maybe that's going for a walk on the beach by themselves, or that's taking a class, maybe at night doing pottery, or whatever that thing may be. You can take small steps to move toward that feeling you're looking for. And that is the beautiful thing. When you start taking these small steps toward yourself in an authentic way, not a narrative, not what everybody else wants, not what the world thinks you should want, what you actually want, it feeds upon itself. It loops. It compounds. It's like a snowball. And the more that you do it and the more that you start to choose things for yourself, choose these things that you want, the rest of the world's going to fall in line. Like so many people are afraid of changing because everybody else expects them to be a certain way. But in the end, you have to choose what you want, because when you're happy, when you're in love with yourself, when you're in love with your life, every single person around you is going to be better for it and happier for it. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
It makes perfect sense. That's a beautiful golden nugget. Stephen, any last parting words for Natalie before we get to the top of the hour?
Besides the fact that you know how much we love you, I have to concur with Elix. Natalie, we can't wait too long. We need you back because it seems like we didn't even get into so much that we want to with you, and get in and start picking that brain of yours. And you use the word joy. You are a joy to me and Elix and all the viewers. And absolutely.
Thank you so much, and I'll come back anytime. I love this. I appreciate it. Appreciate the listeners and you guys more than I can ever express.
I'm going to hold you to that. But Natalie, before you go, our listeners want to know how they can follow you, how they can find you on social media, how they can get your novels, your books, especially your your whatever you want to promote today, your last book.
Okay.
How can they find you?
Thank you so much. Well, if you Google me, Natalie Banks, I'll pull right up and you'll be able to find my books that way. They're available on Amazon. I am the most active on Instagram. You can find me on there, official Natalie Banks. And if you go to my website, nataliebanksnovels.com, and you sign up for my newsletter, I've been sending out a free short story several times a month called The Letters Never Sent. And it's just been such a fun thing to do. It's basically visiting stories and narratives and feelings of things that we feel about people and don't always tell them. And they're all heartwarming and under 5-minute reads. So if that's something that sounds like it interests you, sign up for my newsletter, and I would love to send them to you.
Who would not want some of that
Exactly.
love in their life? Just saying. Just saying. That's a no-brainer. Natalie, thank you for giving us your time, your attention, and your wisdom so beautifully. We appreciate you, and we will absolutely extend an invitation to have you back very, very soon, much sooner than later. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
for
Natalie.
having me. It was wonderful. You guys are amazing. Love you so much.
Love you
We
too,
love
Natalie.
you as well. And Stephen, here we are, top of the hour. Tell people how they can find you.
That just flew by. It was incredible. StephenTheMedium.com. You can go to my website and check out all the events as well as book an appointment privately, virtually, in person. That's where you can find everything. In social media, same thing, Stephen the Medium.
Awesome. And you can find me at Coach Helix. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, Jim Jones, our GM, for producing the show. And we should be back next week. See you then.
No.
Oh, we're not?
You won't be here.
Oh, my goodness. That's right. I will not be here. So we'll be back the following week. And I believe that would be your show, right?
We're not here.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay, so I think we'll be back September 5th.
Yay,
Thank God somebody
September
keeps somebody keeps a calendar on me. But
Yes,
nevertheless,
we'll miss you.
even if we're not here, there will be a show run, so you get to listen to our show. Maybe we'll rerun Natalie's show. So listen,
Yes.
everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.